tá pedindo, tá pedindo, tá querendo é mais. Menina, tá querendo, tá querendo, tá querendo é mais.
Brazil, the sex tourists' paradise, where the country's poorest children sell the only thing they have, their bodies.
70 for 1 hour.
Na idade da gente só tem a gente que fica.
I'm one of the younger ones, but I'm not the youngest. My sister is 12 and there's an 11-year-old.
Procuro uma resposta, eu procuro e não há.
They are the youngest victims of the world's oldest industry.
Criança na prostituição, tanta gente.
Às vezes eu tô assim pouco de raiva, né, dele tá pegando a gente.
Sometimes I feel angry about how they would use me in that way.
They are Brazil's child prostitutes.
Deixa de beber que eu quero ver, doutor. Quero ver você dançar, você dançar. Deixa de comer que eu quero ver, doutor. Deixa de beber que eu quero ver, doutor. Vejo o que eu vejo, eu quero ver você dançar. Menino tá querendo, tá querendo, tá querendo.
Brazil has defied global economic downturn, thanks largely to its exotic, endless beaches. The number of foreign visitors here has reached record levels, generating nearly £3 billion a year. It will host the next World Cup and the 2016 Olympics, guaranteeing an increasing presence on the international stage and yet more tourists. But this is a major headache for Brazil. There is a dark side to its tourist industry. Every week, specialist erotic holiday operators bring in thousands of European men on chartered flights. Brazil is overtaking Thailand as the world's most popular sex tourist destination.
Hello, what's your name?
Renata.
Anata, I'm Chris. Hi, how old are you?
Prostitution is legal here, but Brazil is under international pressure to clamp down on sex tourism. This is why.
How much for a program? 20 for 1 hour, one program?
This young child offers me an hour of sex, or program as they call it, for £3. I've come to Recife in northeast Brazil, posing as a sex tourist to uncover this shocking trade. It appears to be a family business. This woman is her mother and her pimp.
So she looks after you? She looks after you?
She offers me the choice of another 2 girls.
Another 2.
Another 2. Are they younger? That age?
The mother explains I can go with her daughter to a so-called love motel, where I can rent a room to have sex in private.
And where do we go? Is it the motels? The next motel.
In a bid to clamp down on child prostitution, many of the luxury tourist hotels were forced to ban prostitutes and children without legal guardians. It's led to a surge in cheap, seedy love motels, where rooms can be rented by the hour.
Are you from? From London. Yeah. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
The red light district, the sex tourists' playground. Prostitutes work openly in bars and cafes. The legal age for prostitution is 18, but many look much younger.
Barbie, a Barbie bag. You like Barbie?
Eu vim do colégio, né? Vim do colégio.
25. Eu tenho então uma hora.
70, 1 hour. 70 for 1 hour.
How much?
750 reais.
Taxi drivers also act as pimps. This man offers me 2 young-looking girls for the price of 1 and a lift to a love motel.
No, I speak English. Speaking niente.
The youngest girls seem to work on the streets. Perhaps their age poses too much of a risk to bar owners.
Se for bom, vai mais. Se for ruim, eu saio fora.
You pay for as long as you want me, she says.
De maior. Só tenho cara de menina. Não ando com documento.
You mainly find child prostitutes on the streets. They tend to look after each other, sisters or cousins, even their mothers watching over them. They're never far away from the favelas where they live or the red light districts where they find their clients. I wanted to know more from the children themselves, so I dropped my cover. 14-year-old Ronison and 12-year-old Ivan agreed to talk to me. This sex trade caters for all demands. They are child transvestite prostitutes. What is your situation at home? Do you have to try and bring money to your families?
Yes, I need to take money home, as much as I can, to buy rice and staple foods.
So your parents know what you're doing to bring that money and food home?
Yes, they know.
What do they say about it? Do they not worry about you?
No. We tell our parents when we leave, when we're coming back, and then we give the money to them to buy food.
Is it not dangerous sometimes going to hotel rooms, presumably with men?
Sometimes it is dangerous. I've had to punch a few men in a motel.
Have you ever been beaten or mistreated?
No, I've been beaten, but I've had a lot of fights with them. Fight with my hands. Only men are our clients.
What kind of men hire them for sex? Is it European men? Is it men like me?
Guys from Rio, foreigners, Italy, Germany. I've even met an African, another one from Haiti.
Do the police ever try and stop you from prostituting yourselves? Do they try and take you home or take you to a hostel? No, never. Pia used to work in a bar and brothel, but recent police crackdowns on licensed premises have forced her onto the streets. She told me she needs the money for drugs, for her and her mother. She is 13 years old.
I had more than 10 clients per night. They pay 10 riyals, enough for a rock of crack.
For safety, Pia works with a group of prostitutes, from nightfall till dawn.
It depends. 3, 4 turn up. Some days not many, some days many. There's lots of girls working around here. Many others are older, 16, 17. I'm one of the younger ones, but I'm not the youngest. My sister is 12 and there's an 11-year-old. One is 20, one is 13, another 17. I've been doing it for so long I don't even think about it. Foreign guys show up. I've been with lots of them. They just show up. They're like you.
Do you think you'll ever stop doing this? Do you ever see yourself not working on the streets?
Yes, I ask God to take me out of this life. I stop, then I come back. The drug is bad, the drug is my weakness. Drugs are addictive. Because of the drug, I keep coming back to this.
The boom in the country's sex tourism is blamed on successful crackdowns across Southeast Asia. But why Brazil? The cities across the northeast all provide golden beaches and luxury accommodation. Behind the picture postcard facade lies a massive resource of prostitutes, the country's most dangerous slums or favelas. Despite a growing economy, there is still immense poverty here. And it's in favelas like this that UNICEF estimates 250,000 child prostitutes live. Many of them are forced to work on the streets and in brothels by their own parents from the age of 7.
Duro. Posso? Duro. A moça que falar com tua moça.
We track down Pia in Recife's most dangerous favela, sleeping off a night on the streets. She shares this shack with her mother, 2 brothers, and 12-year-old sister who has failed to return home. I ask Casa how she feels about her daughter's work in prostitution, but she appears more concerned that they fail to bring money home.
Trazer dinheiro para casa.
Ela não traz, não.
Ela trabalhando fazendo sexo.
Ela não pega dinheiro, não traz nada para aqui.
If they make any money, they don't bring it home. No, they don't bring any money home.
It's likely any earnings are spent on drugs. 500 miles away in another city, a local politician has declared war on sex tourism. Children like Pia are being rescued from this desperate existence, and the men that exploit them, imprisoned. Alina Marquez is the Secretary of State for Child Protection in Fortaleza. This is her heavily armed motorcade. Every week, this specialist unit sweeps through the city's red light districts. It's designed to send out a clear message to sex tourists. You're not welcome here. First stop, a notorious pickup point for underage prostitutes. Tourists are handed leaflets warning them they face 10 years in jail if caught having sex with a minor. The girls drinking with them have their IDs checked. Some make a run for it. But the main focus tonight is love motels. So far, raids like this have led to countless arrests and the closure of dozens of motels. They've just raided one of the motels in the area where pimps and children themselves offered to bring me for sex, and just one look at the rooms here, you can tell it's not really a hotel, it's basically a brothel. Yep, there's a bed, there's condoms on the table, there's children's sweets, milkshakes, and I believe that this chair is used for sexual pleasure. This clearly is the kind of motels that this unit wants shut down. But while Miss Marquez would like to rid Fortaleza of sex tourism, establishments like this are operating within the law. A licence can only be revoked if child prostitutes are found in their rooms. Eileen, do you think this is a war you can win?
Nesses estabelecimentos iguais a esse, em Fortaleza, também já foi fechado, né? Nesse mesmo.
We have shut down many establishments like these in Fortaleza. I feel that we need to keep targeting these establishments. That's how we'll do it.
As medidas cabíveis com esse mesmo estabelecimento.
But with the World Cup, the Olympics, the boom in sex tourism, there's going to be more sex tourists and possibly more child prostitutes.
Esse trabalho, né, já vem há bastante tempo. E para a Copa, a gente vai.
We've been doing this work for a while, and for the World Cup, we're going to be redoubling our efforts. And it's because of the Cup that we're targeting the very tourism that encourages child prostitution.
Que vem aqui fazer ou favorecimento à prostituição.
The specialist unit heads to another notorious pickup point, a street close to the city stadium, which regularly attracts thousands of men for sporting events. 2 tourists are caught engaging with underage prostitutes at the roadside. On the doorstep of one of the main stadiums in Brazil, where they'll soon be hosting the World Cup in years to come, they're targeting child prostitution on the streets, and they're finding it. If Ms. Marquez's campaign proves successful, it'll be rolled out across Brazil. But for every motel they shut down and every sex tourist arrested, there are victims too. This centre for former child prostitutes is full to capacity. Many can't be returned home to the poverty that drove them into prostitution. Here, childhood is given a chance. It's home to 78 girls that have been rescued, each with their own horrific story of abuse, drugs and prostitution. What this project aims to do is give them back their childhood, put that past behind them, but it also helps them look into the future as well, learning new skills that will help them gain employment as adults. Today, they're learning how to prepare badges and stitch them together, ready to be put onto clothing for a local factory. And the factory pays the project to do that, which obviously helps it to keep going. The first act of kindness from an adult many of these girls experience comes in the form of Jane Silva. She founded this centre, who, as a mother herself, felt the need to do something to help a growing number of children falling into drugs and prostitution.
Shame brings low self-esteem, so our primary way of helping them is to rebuild their confidence, and we also have to deal with their physical health. The majority of the children that arrive here are between 12 and 14, so many of them arrive with serious health problems, like cervical cancer. The cancer is usually at an early stage, so we can help them. And thank God the cure is normally always successful.
Some girls also arrive pregnant, their child fathered by a sex tourist. Lara felt she had no alternative but to turn to prostitution.
Agora se sinto bem porque minha família agora estão gostando de mim, estão me dando amor e carinho aí.
I'm happy now because I found a family who loves me and a daughter I love. Before that, my parents kicked me out. They didn't want me.
What do you think of the men that paid you with drugs or with money to have sex with you? The men that took your childhood away, how do you feel about them?
Eu tenho vergonha agora de passar por eles e olhar para eles do que eu fazia. Aí eu fico com vergonha agora deles.
I am ashamed. It was my choice to sleep with them. I don't feel any anger towards the men who paid for me, because it was my choice to become a prostitute. I just didn't have the courage to do anything about my situation.
Centres like this also offer them protection, in many cases from the parents or pimps that force them to sell their bodies. 12-year-old Maria wants to return home to her mother, but she can't. Her pimp, who forced her to work on the streets and in brothels, vowed to kill her if she ever tried to escape.
I felt very different. I felt I was losing my childhood. I was only 9 years old. Sometimes if I came back without money for him, he'd hit me. I was scared. Every day I would have sex with 10 men. I'd get the money and give it to him.
Maria has been here a year. Through counselling, she is coming to terms with what happened to her. But she told me she is still haunted by the memories of the girls she left behind in the brothel and the men who visited them.
Yes, I do think about them. How no one from the outside really knows what is going on inside the houses, bars and brothels, on the streets. Sometimes I feel angry about how they would use me in that way. With what right? Family men shouldn't do this sort of thing, picking up young girls. Sometimes I feel anger. Sometimes I feel sad.
If Brazil is to crack down on child prostitution, more homes like this will be desperately needed. The country's increasing presence on the international stage is perhaps the greatest hope tens of thousands of young children have. A growing economy, South America's superpower, the next host of the world's largest football event. Can Brazil afford to ignore the plight of its child prostitutes?
Tá querendo mais pra viver, tá querendo mais pra colher, tá querendo mais é viver o seu sonhar. Procuro uma resposta, eu procuro e não há. Procuro uma resposta, eu procuro e não há. Tanta gente sem educação, criança na prostituição, tanta gente sem um teto para morar. Oh, deixa de comer que eu quero ver, doutor. Deixa de beber que eu quero ver, doutor. Vejo o que eu vejo, eu quero ver você dançar, você dançar. Deixa de comer que eu quero ver, doutor. Deixa de beber que eu quero ver, doutor. Deixa eu ver que eu quero ver você dançar, você dançar. Deixa de comer que eu quero ver, doutor. Deixa de beber que eu quero ver, doutor. Vejo o que eu vejo, eu quero ver você dançar, você dançar. Yeah. Oh.